Hello, welcome to our session. This is Buket. I'm with the company Litum. We do real-time location systems and we've been around for 20 years. But unfortunately, this is our first ProMat show. I wish we were at every other show before this. So thanks for being here. And Ken, if you'd like to introduce.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Ken Rawlings with Litum, VP of Product and U.S. Operations. Pleasure to be with you all today and share a little bit of our insights around location technologies.
So we were here yesterday and we got to meet quite a few people, and the issues that we hear around manufacturing, logistics, supply chain, warehouse, safety and efficiency issues are always the same. And there are multiple vendors, and a lot of the time companies have to deploy each solution separately from each vendor. And we're going to tell you a bit about how real-time location systems can create both safety and efficiency for workplaces through one infrastructure. I was wondering, not sure where you come from, but have you ever had a major safety challenge, a forklift incident, or a major issue with misplaced, lost assets in your workplace that really affected production? Yeah. So this is very widely seen, but one trend that we are actually seeing is in the past, all we really talked about was safety. Post-pandemic, we started talking about productivity and efficiency a lot too. And that will have to do a lot with some of our connected worker use cases and asset tracking use cases. So I'll just tell you a brief story. And this is, when I joined Litum, the CEO had shared this with me, and it was quite interesting. It's, the things that seem very small in your workplace, they build up over months, over years, and they can, turn into big losses. So I think 4 years back, we were doing an asset tracking connected worker solution for a big oil and gas company in the US. And there was a turnaround project. So they had 30 days to finish this project with their contractors. And they wanted that connected worker solution. And they realized that, people were coming back from lunch 15 minutes, 30 minutes late every day, every single day, and they had no idea what was happening. Within the first week of deployment, this is what came out. So the heat maps that show the density of, where people are, the contractors are, they looked at the lunch times and they saw heat map density in one location in the lunch area. And it turned out in just one day that there was one microwave, and people were waiting for 15, 20 minutes to heat their food. So they ended up just putting more microwaves in there, and that was just sold within a few days. So it seems like a very simple thing, but when you are a manager, a director, and you don't have that kind of visibility into your workplace, these small things really add up at the end of the day and can create, big inefficiencies. So if you want to just ask questions as we go along, please do ask questions. We're going to try and create some time for Q&A at the end. If you don't have the time for that, if we end up talking too much, please come and visit us at our booth. And you can always, find us through our website as well. But this speech is not going to be about our company solely. It's going to be about real-time location systems. We have been doing this for 20 years, so we think that that experience could be valuable for you. So one thing, I'm very much into AI. My past company was an AI unicorn, and I read a lot about it. And the things that I see happening with generative AI, and I can even feel it in my team. I'm a marketing person. And I already don't have to hire 2 more people because of ChatGPT. Content writing takes a lot of time. Content production takes a lot of time. So that's one small bit of thing that you can feel in your workplace. And of course, there's the AI hype, and there's a lot of misinformation about it as well. Which one works, which doesn't work, you don't know until you deploy it. But there are 1,000 other things that are happening as well. I guess we all kind of went through a very strange period during COVID, And then after the pandemic ended and we came back to real life, things were a bit different. And people were looking for other things right now, including efficiency metrics or including, an enthusiasm to go to the office. So basically, with the global conflicts rising, and I follow the news very frequently too, a lot of budgets of countries are going into defense. It's quite chaotic. I don't think, it's easy to feel at peace with the way things are going in the world right now. So all of that is happening with this exponential growth with AI in technology advancements. And it feels like, when you go back to your workplace or when you go back to your home, things should be much easier. We feel like we should have probably solved quite a few problems by now. To be honest, the way we see it, a lot of problems are still unsolved in workplaces. So safety still matters. We come across quite a few people who still have no, solution in place for forklift safety, for instance, and forklift incidents is quite a big issue. And efficiency, again, is essential. A lot of people do inventory management manually still, and if you're not able to locate your assets, that's a lot of hours lost for each of your, workers. So innovation is really the edge, but we talk about technology and all of these advancements and start using these things in our real lives, all of these apps, but our workplaces still lack that innovative edge, I think. And RTLS is one way to implement that in your workplace. So I'm just going to go through a few, data points. It's hard for me to see here, but basically, OSHA said that 2.8 million non-fatal workplace injuries happen per year in private industry. Or another one is, on average, one person is killed in a forklift accident every 4 days in the US, and 45 people are injured. Most of the forklift fatalities are in manufacturing, followed by construction. And Liberty Mutual estimated that employers paid more than $1 billion per week for direct workers' compensation costs for disabling and non-fatal workplace injuries. The reason I'm talking about this is it's not to, make every single worker more efficient or more productive. Basically, the losses of these businesses at the end of the day turn into less jobs for people. So it's like the cycle that's affecting humans at the end of the day, whether it's a safety use case or an efficiency use case. And then, I don't know why that's 6.9, so I'm just gonna say 7, but warehouse workers can spend as much as 7 weeks per year just walking around facilities, probably looking for their colleagues, looking for assets. And then inventory inaccuracies stand at around 20 to 30%, still because of a lot of the manual work that goes into finding inventory. And this is the last one. 70% of warehouse managers rely on manual methods to track inventory location. So these people that we talk to that say that they have just manual, stuff in place, it's actually, it's real. It continues to this date. So a lot of things happen. A lot of things are not in our control. We can do our best in our workplace, and some things are still going to happen. But I feel like, and if there are ways that we can minimize the risk, we should go for it. Whether that's for safety or efficiency purposes, because I don't think those two are separate things. They go hand in hand. Because let's say if you have a more efficient workplace for a forklift operator, he's going to be able to focus more on driving the forklift, which is going to turn into a safety metric at the end of the day. So we're going to talk about how RTLS can help solve all of these challenges through one single deployment. Ken? Yeah?
Sure. I think the key to think about with real-time location systems, especially in an indoor complex industrial environment, is you can contrast it to the way things were maybe a decade ago prior to everyone having location services on their mobile devices and how much you use those location services in your day-to-day life. With real-time location systems in industrial environments, it unlocks an unlimited amount of use cases, and we'll get into clear ROI. But what these systems enable is accurate location data across your enterprise of things like assets, forklifts, people, and the interactions between them. So by deploying an indoor location system, the power behind that is really enabling some of the AI and the analytics and the advancements that we're seeing around efficiency within your business. For example, I don't think most people, when they try to do traffic or when they take their Uber to get to McCormick today, they take into account which roads have the most traffic on them. That's real-time location. That's taking into account not just the route optimization of the quickest path, but what type of traffic is there, what type of people, what type of congestion is in that path. The same thing that we can do within distribution centers, warehouses, et cetera. We take into account where are the things located, where are they located in real time, whether we identify them on an hourly basis, on a sub-second basis. We have the flexibility to now drive that type of data into your enterprise, integrate with your existing systems, whether it's your WMS or whether it's your ERP, and take into account real-time location and all of your optimization of your business practices. Next slide. So let's talk about some of our high-value RTLS solutions and the type of use cases that we see deployed around this technology. And as Buket touched on, a lot of the customers we engage with or the stories we hear or the use cases and the inquiries we get, it all starts with probably a single clear ROI or an advancement or continuous improvement that you're trying to do within your enterprise. And we'll go through some examples later on, but I want to touch on a couple, like 4 key today as part of this. By being able to have a notion of a wearable, a tag on different devices, think of it like an air tag, and be able to get down to sub-meter accuracy of that, that person, that asset, that fork truck, we can enable all sorts of use cases. The first I'll bring up is asset tracking. We've done clear ROI studies, and Buket will get into some examples on the simplest use case here is where is that asset? Where do I need to find it? Whether that's a simple query to identify it, or it's just last known location, and reducing the time spent searching for things, whether it's in a complex manufacturing facility or whether it's in your warehouse. What our technology allows you to do is define geofence zones and define different areas within the facility and trigger different business rules around those locations. So it's not only where is it, but I can define different rules depending on the quantity of inventory that's in a specific location or the amount of interactions I'm having between people, fork trucks, inventory in a certain area. So knowing where everything is instantly, driving updated business processes based on knowing where those things are, whether it's tracking and looking at certain trends I'm seeing over a shift or over different aspects and time elements, that's key to the RTLS value that we can provide. And reducing asset search time by 80% is a common occurrence. When we look at asset tracking as a primary first use case with a lot of our customers, some in aerospace, some in warehousing and distribution, there's a clear, definitive ROI immediately that can be paid off just by tracking those and identifying those geofences. The next example I'd like to talk about is it's forklift tracking, but it's also the forklift collision warning. It's some of those safety use cases that Buket touched on earlier. We're getting to the point now by having real-time location integrated into the fork trucks within the enterprise. we can not only drive efficiency, but the technology, by using radio frequency, allows you to see people behind boxes. It allows you to see around corners, right? It's not just physical line of sight, it's radio frequency line of sight. So when we have blind intersections, when we have trucks coming out at the end of aisles, we've also taken and gone as far as creating geofence-based zones and determining industrial automation type of business rules. So we'll automatically slow that truck down when it exits an aisle, or we can define those type of parameters by integrating into the fork truck and the OEM, whether it's a mixed fleet or whether it's a dedicated fleet. Another key example I would say is within process tracking, integrating in how the material is moved within the facility and actually tracking that. We integrate not only the active RTLS tags that we have, but we can also integrate into a passive RFID system. So we can marry the trucks, the people, the assets with inventory that's in process within your enterprise. And in doing that, we have real-time, real-world examples where we can reduce production delays by 25% by optimizing cycle times within inventory movement by applying these location technologies within the enterprise. One of the key use cases that I want to highlight that we've had a lot of traction on over the past couple years, maybe 18 months, is really around connected worker. And when we talk about connected worker, that isn't only your workers within your enterprise, both as a safety solution, but also we see this more often being used in large construction areas as well as in facilities to monitor the productivity of contractors. So by having a real-time location system integrated, we have some cases where they're integrated into their safety helmets in a construction site or into their PPE within the enterprise. Those connected worker solutions allow you to monitor how efficient, looking at heat maps, spaghetti diagrams, different types of analytics and reporting to understand, all right, I have 5 electrical contractors on site. Here's where they are within the facility. Here's what they're billing me for the time they spent. Here's the tasks that I'm expecting them to do. And we have customers today that actually true up and look at the billing that the contractors are providing to them, and they have real-time data to assess, okay, was the right quantity of people on site? Were they doing the work that I was expected? And can I drive some efficiency by monitoring that type of data? The key takeaway here is the intersection of location services and real-time location across all of these different use cases provides imminent opportunity in applying additional technology like AI to optimize your operation, but it's just a single use case that can drive clear ROI and clear business value. Go to the next one. Yeah.
So just a quick intro on why we are talking about these solutions and what might give us the authority to actually speak to these solutions is we've been around for 20 years, I mentioned. But if you want to check out any of the ratings or product reviews, Gartner has listed us in multiple platforms, and we do offer solutions across 50 plus countries. So that also reflects quite a bit of R&D and wisdom in deployment, in different regions and different countries according to different compliance requirements. Back to you.
Sure, and I'll go a little deeper on some of the clear return on investment around forklift safety. What we've seen in multiple deployments across those 50 countries, and a lot of times we work with global Fortune 500 companies that have facilities not only in the Americas, but also in different regions, is every forklift collision isn't just a near miss. Sometimes you're having forklift to forklift, forklift to pedestrian. You're having incidents within the enterprise where they're hitting racks and there's also damage. We're seeing 90% reduction in near misses by deploying this technology within a factory. We had a factory that actually cut their incident reports by 70% in a matter of months. We have a 70% reduction in operator fatigue. So think of the technology that's now in your automobile when you're driving. You have lane assist and you have adaptive cruise control. by implementing some of these technologies and providing an automation layer, there's plenty of OEMs here that are providing autonomous vehicles, but by providing some of this semi-autonomous location technology to the fleet of vehicles you have in your facility, you're assisting that operator to not only move and work more efficiently, but also providing safety alerts to them visually as part of their day-to-day production, which is driving 70% reduction in operator fatigue. We're also seeing a 95% improvement in compliance. So, less paperwork, fewer fines, an improvement in your safety and your OSHA compliance, as an example, by implementing this type of forklift safety technology. Next slide. Some additional examples, each collision costing almost $20,000, having those collisions reduced across your forklift fleet. We'll get into a little bit around the intersection between forklift safety and forklift efficiency, but as we look at the different calculations and safety compliance statistics, we routinely find clear ROI by implementing this technology within a mixed fleet. And you see the payoffs here, up to 1.3 million in some of these reductions.
Maybe just one thing to add is when it comes down to forklift safety, because with this client, we started doing forklift safety, but went into forklift tracking for more of the efficiency use cases. The incident rates are usually, the reduction in incident rates and near misses is mostly around, up to 80%. But with this one client, where we deployed our solution, I think on more than like 7,000 forklifts across the states, multiple sites, there was 100% reduction in incidents. So when we talk about statistics, to be on the safe side, the numbers are a bit lower, but real life, outputs of these are mostly, much bigger than what you see here.
And then if we move forward and talk about forklift efficiency, there's a certain amount of yin and yang combination between safety and efficiency, right? We can't have all of the fork trucks moving at a crawl speed within your enterprise, because obviously then you're going to lose efficiency and productivity, right? So it's a combination of delivering a forklift safety solution, but also being able to deliver an efficient solution where I understand, do I have the right fleet of vehicles? Can I assess how often those vehicles and the different types of vehicles are being used? Do I have the right profile of operators? Do I have the right operators and skilled workers to operate that fleet of trucks? We have a large deployment in Mexico where just within a week of study, they found out that they had a 40% improvement in forklift utilization, and the plant had 100 fork trucks that a lot of them were sitting idle, and they were able to reduce their fleet and optimize their fleet with the right type of vehicles just by assessing how efficient their existing operation is. Now, understand that there's different peaks and valleys during your production year, but having that historical data, being able to assess and predict, we're also providing that level of guidance and that real-time data to customers that help them assess, all right, am I going to purchase a fleet of trucks, or am I going to lease different vehicles at different times of the year, or lease certain models depending on my peaks and valleys of my productivity and my operation? We also find that if we can optimize the amount of operators or the skilled operators I need based on the differences in the trucks, we can save thousands of hours a year per facility, and we can save millions in labor cost by optimizing that operation across not only the forklift efficiency, but also the utilization. Some additional aspects here around forklift efficiency. We've done numerous calculations based on the cost per hour of the operator, but forklift collision savings can equate to $20,000 for each collision, and then applying that logic to forklift collision and forklift efficiency, there's clear return on investment by implementing this technology and reducing your overall operational costs. Anything to add here?
Yeah, and as part of this forklift tracking, actually, so when we talk about real-time tracking, it usually, the way people visualize it is being able to find something, a forklift, an asset, that they're looking for in real time. But beyond that, we are collecting all of this historical data that can be, stored on-prem or on cloud. There are multiple security layers there, so that you actually can assess some trends and then make smarter decisions for future. So for forklift tracking, some of those reports are aisle utilization, aisle congestion. We can do utilization reports based on each forklift or forklift type so that you actually have visibility into which type of your trucks are actually being used mostly in your facility so that you know which one to lease or which one to buy in your next cycle. So I just wanted to just touch upon that too, and can go into the ROI and asset tracking. And I'm going to take this because few months ago, I visited a customer, an aerospace defense company, a GE aerospace venture actually in Europe. And they deployed our asset tracking solution. So I'm not gonna even go to these. They've been using the solution for, I think, 5 months now. And one of the benefits of getting this system is the dashboards and analytics, right? So they haven't even felt the need to go on to the analytics part yet, because just being able to find the asset just changed the whole game for them. This is what was going on. A lot of these companies, aerospace manufacturers, are producing parts that cost from 20K, 40K, 100K per part. And if you lose one of them, your production is gonna run late. So you're not gonna be able to deliver to your customer, which is gonna, in turn, it's gonna affect your reputation. So that was a big issue for the company. And they weren't able to deliver a few products because there are all these, supply chain issues. So if you lose a part, you have to wait for another 2 months to get another part. And now they're able to locate all of their assets, and that problem is solved. So this is kind of the value this can bring into the operations. And we talk about ROI here a lot. And we actually have an ROI calculator. So stop by our booth if you want to get some statistics on what you can achieve, so that we can just work on your case. But it's really when we go out to the site and see the impact of this that that really tells us more than these numbers. Whoever was having issues, whoever was responsible for assets, all of that, with that problem being solved, it made the lives of the employees better too. So I just wanted to touch upon that.
Yeah, and I just want to add a couple things on how we deploy these types of asset tracking solutions and a little bit on our technology. Not everyone needs to know where something is at sub-meter accuracy. Sometimes it could be zone level, sometimes it could be within several feet, depending on what that needs to be. So we specialize in ultra-wideband technology that can get down to that sub-meter, centimeter level accuracy, depending on how we deploy the real-time location system within the enterprise. But we also leverage Bluetooth low energy as well. So with our single infrastructure and some of these asset tracking use cases, depending on the density of your environment, what you're trying to track, whether it's a small hand tool or whether it's a large engine assembly at an aerospace facility, as Buket just mentioned, we have lots of different hardware and software and technology combinations to deliver that value, all in a mixed, complex industrial environment, which we specialize in. I think the key point here is that we'll design and deliver. We have turnkey solutions, but we'll work with you depending on your use case and the complexity of your environment to find the right solution to give you that turnkey solution. What we do is we have an RTLS platform that can either be deployed within your on-premise or within your IT infrastructure, or we can deploy it via the cloud and provide you those analytics and real-time insights. The data is yours to own. Those historic analysis on heat maps or how the asset get moved throughout the facility is all provided to you. And we find customers continue to get insights over time through having that data and that tracking. Go ahead.
And when it comes to connected worker, there is one company that we work with in the Middle East region in UAE. And I think it's 10,000 contractors that are working on a construction site. It's an EPC provider. So there's ongoing construction on one side. And with the connected worker solution, they were able to achieve two things. One, with the tag, there are buttons and accelerometers on the tag. So if anything goes wrong, if anyone falls down, the system will instantly send an alert showing the location of that person who's in trouble, so that that alert can be in the form of an email, a phone call. We do third-party API calls, so the security personnel can be, notified. So that is very helpful in a lot of, high-risk areas like construction areas or mining, or oil and gas refineries. The other portion of this is because they're working with contractors, and again, there's a dedicated time window for that project to be completed, they are also able to look into the, have visibility over the bottlenecks and see, where things are going wrong and what can be improved. Because without visibility, so one of the things that was actually that was found out with the contractors is we do have like utilization reports or like idle time reports, and it turned out that a lot of people who were supposed to come on site were not there. They would, leave very early, that sort of stuff. So we can drive all of those attendance reports too. So connected worker solutions help in that way. There's another client that we work with for that's an ongoing nuclear power plant construction. And again, on that construction site, this system is leveraged to be able to have that sort of visibility and safety measures in place. Those areas are huge areas. If anything happened to a person, there's no way you might know. And even with like biotech companies, pharmaceutical companies, huge ones, we hear, someone would go into a lab and you're interacting with, chemicals and like, risky environments, freezers, all of that. So we hear from stories from our customers or prospects about the sort of lone worker safety issues that they come across. So that is kind of built into this sort of solution as well.
Yeah, and if I could add a few things with connected worker, I think the key point, and you touched on, is our system is designed to have an open API and be integrated into existing systems, right? So taking that location data, providing it into SAP, or in this case for contractors, maybe into a time and attendance system. So you're combining the actual location data and applying that to time and attendance. Also in the asset tracking use cases, also integrating into an enterprise asset management system as a common solution where we can combine that. You touched a little bit on safety with connected worker. We're deploying at a distribution center right now in the Northeast where it's a medical device manufacturer that has sterilization of some of the equipment or some of the products they produce. And they want to assess how often the workers in the distribution center are exposed to certain chemicals and materials within that DC. These are all common use cases which we can apply and get to the right level of location accuracy and deploy that type of solution across efficiency and safety, all within a connected worker type of application.
So basically, at the end of the day, this feels like when we're talking about 1 hour lost, 15 minutes lost, one asset, one employee, it feels like something very little. But when you think about it and scale it up in a, in a matter of like 1,000 workers, 2,000 assets, 500 forklifts, multiple sites, all of that, it can really translate into both, more robust safety solutions and accountability and visibility in your workplace, but also some very solid, business outputs in terms of savings, which can then translate into investment of the business into areas where they actually have to invest in rather than, lose on the things that are a problem over and over each year and they can't seem to solve. So that's really it. If you have any questions, we can take them here. If you have anything to share, we can take them here. We're happy to meet you at our booth if you have, if you want to have one-on-one deeper conversations. Anything else from your end? Ken?
No, thank you for all coming. Thank you.
I'm assuming no questions. All right. Thank you for coming. I'm very happy to have you here. Take care.